Oh yeah. Do you mind if I just take a quick toilet break?
Yeah, of course. No,
Yeah,
I don't
I'll
mind.
be back in like.
I don't know how to stay.
Oh what? I gotta hold it the whole time.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Use that pain to focus you. All right. Yeah, I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
Erica, I will be back in a few minutes. I'll just take a minute of this area so that because I'm started recording. So
Okay.
when we do interview you, we'll get your hat.
I'm in my hat. And it fits me so well because I am a country girl at heart. And Rex gave me a cowgirl. I don't know.
I used to make.
There's my hat. I put it in the CSM.
Thank you. I'll make sure to use it. I made signatures for people, and I would just talk to them for a while, get to know them, and then I would make the signature, and they'd always say, "My God, you nailed my personality," and that's like a caricature artist would look at a face and make, exaggerated parts look like that person, but artists, will find the soul in somebody and then create something towards it, which is what Rick's did for
But
you.
it's like, I never even told Rick's that, like what kind of hat that I would like. I just asked him for a hat and he made this one. And I'm like, oh my gosh!
You nailed it. Yeah.
Like, how, like, I don't know if he just
Little
somehow knew.
AFK.
Sorry? Are you back?
I heard somebody.
Oh.
I think artists have just have that sense. So they're able to look in deeper.
No, they're very empathic, right? We try to feel things like I said, I've been an artist for 12 years, and it was you're always channeling. You're channeling it through you.
Nice hat.
Nice hat. Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna take Victor into this other place over here, the dark room. Bye.
Okay.
Well, welcome to the dark room. Give me just 1 minute. Victor, welcome. Oh, I did it again. Gotta remember this. Hold on 1 second, I'll fix you up. Out you go, back in you go. You should be able to talk now. Now, if you're not talking, it's because you're shy. Oh, you're not back yet. That would be a reason too. Victor, tell me when you're back. No rush.
I literally just got back now.
Oh, no problem. Compose yourself. You have about 2 minutes.
Good timing. You can hear me all right, yeah?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Yeah, I just had to enable the push to talk thing. I never used it on Discord.
Let me turn down the volume on the game. Okay, welcome, Victor. Hold on, it didn't start the recording. That's a bad move. Okay, welcome, Victor Koraka. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Now, judging from your accent and for what you told me before, you're from Australia.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Yeah.
From Australia.
All right, is this the first show you've done for CSM on your campaigning?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, first interview for CSM and first time applying for CSM.
Now, that's interesting because you're actually kind of an older player. You've been playing since 2005?
Yeah, that's correct. So I first started playing 2005 when I was in high school, and then played around for a bit, and then decided to join the army. So I obviously had to take a bit of a break because, you know, when you're in the army, you don't really have much time for video games.
I don't know. I hear people play from like remote locations while they're bored. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was infantry, so a lot of my time was spent outdoors and stuff anyway. And then on the weekends, I was down at the pub getting drunk every night. So in between getting flogged and running around all day, and then spending 20 hours at the pub, you know.
Well, some would say you
Don't get much time for video games.
You were practicing for Eve while you're getting drunk.
Yeah.
shooting things. Yeah. So, from reading about you, I get the impression that you really like this game. Am I wrong about that?
Pun, sorry? Sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, sorry. From reading about you, the impression I get is that you really like this game.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. It's like I said, it's a game that I started playing 2005. Took a break from it. Unfortunately, I lost my old account details. So I had to start again in 2012. But yeah, I've just been playing. You know, fairly regularly. I've just sort of been on and off the first couple of years, but yeah, recently I've just been playing sort of nonstop.
So, what is it you like about the game? What are the things that attract you to it?
Well, primarily it was market and, funny enough, PI that actually attracted me to the game. That along with PvE in the high sec. I basically played by myself for a very, very long time. I didn't know any other Australians who played Eve. And it wasn't actually until last year that I actually saw one of my mates on Steam who was playing Eve. And I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, you play Eve? And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm in a corp. I was like, oh, okay. And then I jumped on, you know, TeamSpeak and met his corp people and found out there was 8 other Aussies in his corp.
And that's the first time you thought, I can play this game with other people too.
Yeah. I was just like, wow, I don't have to like run around by myself and just, you know, pot around with all this stuff. But yeah, no, it's been a huge learning curve too, because these guys that I've met are all PvP. They're all nullsec PvPers. And yeah, I have, if you look at my kill bar, it's not very great. I've lost a few expensive ships.
Oh, how expensive? Well, were they like expensive because you had fittings in there that were really high priced, or were you flying faction ships? Or
so, funny story, because I'm a noob to PvP. Oh well, I'm a lot more experienced now, I guess, in the knowledge sense. But when I first started, I didn't realize that a particular place by the name of Head GP is a heavily gate camp system.
That's a high sec to null sec transition, which means it's dangerous immediately.
Yes.
There's only 2 in the game, by the way.
For a noob like me who didn't have a clue as far as, even though I played for 4 years, I'd never ventured out to Nullsec.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I flew a Charon through there and lost it.
Oh, so you flew a freighter directly into nullsec, where it's usually gate camped 24/7. That's
Yes.
awesome.
So
that.
I am still the butt of the joke.
Well,
But no, it's good because I can laugh at myself.
sorry about that. Still getting over a cold. I think you should be on CSM
You're
for
right.
that reason alone. I love that story.
Yeah, well, it's not my first Charon that I've lost either, so yeah,
So
I tend to lose them.
You're an expert at losing freighters?
Yeah. Well, the second one was because we were war decked, and I lost it.
Mhm.
And then another time I went through Rancer and lost it.
You went through Rancer, which is one of the
Yeah.
pirate havens in all of
Yes.
Eve. It's a tunnel between, I guess, Minmatar space and Galenti space. It's a shortcut that will crucify you.
Absolutely. And I learned that lesson.
Yeah. So this is great, actually. You're very experienced in losing ships and doing all the things you're not supposed to do. And to me, that is so refreshing from coming at it the other direction of like, I am so proficient in this and I'm so good at that and all this other stuff. And I'm getting a kick out of your dead stories.
Yeah, it's great.
all the horrible ways to die in Eve. But what's interesting about you is that you played. How long did you play alone?
For about 4 years, pretty much since 2012 until December last year.
So you played Eve, pretty much kept to yourself for 4 years.
Yep.
How is it that you didn't get bored of the game and leave? Because the conventional wisdom is if you don't play with people, you're gonna leave.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always jumped on and always found the market in particular exciting.
Mhm.
And just buying and selling and moving things from one trade up to another. I primarily deal in command centers, so I can move tens and thousands of command centers around. It's a lot of people would find that extremely boring, especially if you're jumping 22 or 20 jumps, I should say, from Judah to Dodixie. I mean, doing that back and forth can get very tiresome. But for some reason, I don't know, I just find it relaxing. And it was often a thing where I'd do, even if I was mining, some people, you could call it AFK mining, but I wasn't entirely AFK, but I could watch TV shows and mine at the same time,
Yeah.
which I'm sure a lot of people do. But yeah, I learned my lesson very, very early on not to AFK mine because there's a lot of suicide gankers in high sec.
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, 17 jumps from Dodixie to Amar, but basically 20. That's what it feels like. And so you would just move things around, and in freighters, I guess, mostly.
Yeah.
Because
in Charons, yeah.
Yeah, if you were playing 4 years, you worked yourself into a freighter or two. So what do you think of high sec ganking? It's obviously probably scares the heck out of you. Is it something that you think is valuable to the game, or is that something that you disagree with and shouldn't be there?
I think there's definitely a few changes that can be made to the game in that respect. I know from just talking to people in the community so far is that there's a lot of players who kind of feel the war deck system is a bit broken at the moment.
Yep.
Especially in high sec. I mean, corporations can war deck each other, and it's up to the corp to accept the price for surrender. But that actually frustrates a lot of people, especially if they're in small corporations where they are just playing by themselves or playing with one or two other people, and they get war decked by a group that's got 100 plus players,
Yeah.
And it does make their 2 weeks of gameplay very, very frustrating, and they literally can't do anything.
Yeah.
So there's been suggestions from players in the community saying, how about there's like a bartering system where you could pay, for instance, Concord a fee to get the war deck removed, or vice versa, where you could pay Concord a fee to turn a blind eye to attack other corps. There's all these sort of things floating around. which could be interesting to see if there was something like that. Maybe that would also reduce suicide ganking. Maybe there would be a reason for these suicide gankers to actually do proper warfare.
Mm-hmm. So these are some of the issues that you care about that I'm looking at. Besides war decking, you're saying also I've heard this before, that actually one of the candidates just brought it up, that it's something they want to look at. But other things are the PI system, and you've done a lot of market trading and stuff. I guess when you're hauling things back and forth, you're working on the market side of things.
Yes.
So you've been working on markets and trading and doing stuff like that. Probably a big chunk of that 4 years, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's where most of my personal experience is.
Mm-hmm.
It's focused in market and PI and PVE mission running, because I have an alt where I just do a lot of mission running when I get bored of flying around, or where I've got two windows open, just decide to go for a bit of a run.
Yeah, yeah. Do you like the idea of the missions being static the way they are, or do you like the idea of them being more like I forget what they're called right now, but the missions that are really hard, where the opponents have AI that's new, that burner missions, and they react more like players react to make it more challenging? Or are you in that camp, or do you think both should exist?
I think both should exist, but as far as missions go, I think they need to be more creative, especially the PVE, like for security missions, for example, which is what I'm more familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
I know
security missions
recently,
are the ones, just for the audience, that a lot of people who may not know all the ins and outs. I'm going to break things down for them for all these interviews.
That's fine.
And one thing I want to say, security missions are combat missions. There's also courier missions and mining missions as well. But everybody, when they say they're doing missioning, they're basically doing security missions. And
so with the security combat, exactly. And I noticed that there's times where I could repeatedly get the same mission. I've even had instances where I've had the exact same mission twice. And when I say exact same, it's the same pirate name, it's the same goal. It might be in a different system, but it's a carbon copy.
It's immersive breaking, right?
It is, absolutely is. Especially, when you look at other MMOs or even other RPGs where you can have a game where you'll never get the same quest twice.
Yeah, it almost feels broken at that point, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. And that's something that I would, I'd love to see change. I'd love to see more, again, like you said, immersion within storylines as well. Have more missions that are storylined, and, follow a certain aspect of a story and get more involved into EVE lore, into the EVE story. Because personally, I know from doing missions, I hardly know anything about, EVE lore. Even the storyline missions I do get, I kind of get an implant here and there for a reward, and I'm like, okay, well, that's great.
Put that in the bag.
Yeah, put that in the bag, okay, awesome. Well then, what did I learn about EVE? Not a lot.
Right. Yeah, I think the consequences, if we can just have a discussion on it, is the consequences are not, they kind of railway you into deciding what to do. Like, the princess mission is, for me, the biggest one, where you have to kill the princess in order to turn in the mission. Otherwise, you fail the mission. And nobody wants to fail a mission, but there's no ethical choice there. I don't want to kill
No.
I want a white knight her. I don't want to kill her. But, they force you into that. Like, kill her, or you're going to lose faction standing. So
yeah, that's right. And when you do the new character missions, and you do something like the War Academy missions, there is a lot more immersion. There's a lot more involvement in those new player missions than there are with the generic player missions once you're in system and once you are flying around in high sec. And with again, with those missions, if they're repetitive and they're carbon copies of each other, you get bored as a player and you just think, well, what's the point?
Yeah. Let me ask you this: do you when you do missions, are you blasting through them? Are you what do they call that? Blitzing them. Are you going through them as
blitzing
fast
them?
Yeah, blitzing them, just going through them as fast as possible, not collecting loot, just doing them for money? Or are you actually kind of like picking up the salvage and making sure you kill every rat that's in that part? How do you do them?
Generally, I try to kill every rat. I even go around blowing up structures just because I like to see the explosions. Because that's always fun. But when it comes to loot, I mean, generally I don't pick half of it up. I don't have any salvages. I don't do a lot of salvaging, so I don't generally do that. I know, again, with people that I know in the community, I know a lot of them, especially in nullsec, will do ratting sites, and then they'll have one of the other court mates come behind them and salvage everything, or they'll just get a mobile tractor unit and sit it there, and then come back later on with a hauler or salvager or something, and do that. But I think there's more incentive to do it out in those areas too, because there's more expensive loot out in those areas. And that's another thing too when it comes to missions as well. I mean, it would be interesting if they made particular missions with more rewards, maybe in ways of loot as well.
Yeah.
These are all ideas, again, suggestions. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not a games programmer, so I don't know how difficult or how easy it would be to implement these things. But
no, but
it would be nice.
Yeah, these are the things that you've come across, and you said like, maybe these need to be told to somebody, and I imagine that's why you're running for CSM, to have some influence over the game's direction. Or what is your reason? Tell me.
Well, my reason to jump in is just basically give a voice to the player community. I mean, it's my first time looking at EVE politics, and I've followed it in the last couple of months. I've been watching the live streams and the Facebook posts of the most recent CSM summit that was in Iceland. And just paying attention to a few decisions that are being made here and there, and just kind of feeling like they're not, and this may be controversial, but feeling like they're not necessarily representing all the players. I feel like maybe some of the previous CSM members have been a little bit more, I guess, approaching ideas and changes to the game from an individual or perhaps an alliance perspective, and not from the community perspective.
Well, that's the thing that gets thrown at them. Like, you guys are from nullsec, you guys are big blocks, you guys are just leveraging the CSM for your own, benefit. And let's assume that they're honorable men and they want to make the game better too, and they work with mechanics and all that sort of thing. Like, how do you feel they're not representing you?
Well, I know that like you said, there's been a lot of nullsec, I guess, implementations, or a lot of talk about nullsec going on. There have been a few game changing. Well, I mean, people will agree and disagree, but I know, for example, the recent changes to the market data input, trying to remove or decrease the amount of information that comes out of certain sectors. You can see it from two sides of the coin. You can see it from one where, people are going to get intelligence off these systems, knowing what they're producing, how much they're producing, how much they're mining, et cetera, where things are being moved to and from. But from another perspective, when you look at it from a market perspective, and that's where I come from, in a data perspective.
Why should you have that information, though? I mean, this has been kind of talked about, so I really don't want to go too far into it unless you want to.
Yeah.
But you're saying that's one way that they've kind of geared the game towards themselves. But I want to know about you. Like, forget that controversy. I think it's a made-up controversy. What I want to talk about is, you play this game, I think, like a lot of people play this game, and you have the ability to empathize with their situation. And I want to know how you feel about the representatives not representing you, as a high-sec player, I guess.
Yeah, I don't feel. Well, I mean, again, I'm new to the whole EVE politics thing. So, and I'm new to the forums. I admit that I don't spend much time on the forums, and I know a lot of people that I play with don't spend time on the forums.
Interesting.
But it's another thing. It's another issue that needs to be addressed as well, I guess, in the way of forums and communication and getting things out. I mean, I always read the dev blogs, always want to know what's coming out, and then you'll have people go, oh, what, this just changed, oh, what, this ship looks different, and it's like, mate,
behind,
just
right?
read the dev blog. Yeah, it's like, mate, just like, and that's another thing, again, with the client window as well, that CCP should throw up more advertisement or more pop-up windows to say, hey, this is happening, to get more people involved. But yeah, as a high sec community, again, they're like, missions, for example, which I'm going to go back to, is that hasn't really changed in the last couple of years. I think the only thing that's really changed significantly is the new player experience. So yeah, just things like that. This sort of, I feel like there should be more events in high sec as well. More special events. I mean, we have those Burn Jeter events, but they're kind of player organized. It would be nice to see more CCP organized events, because they ultimately have control over what NPCs they can insert into zones, and what kind of things they can do with the game.
Do you actually participate in those things?
But not really Burn Jeter. I stay away from Jeter. If that's coming, if something like that's happening.
You participate by staying the hell out, right?
Yeah. I've lost enough Charons in my lifetime. I don't want to lose anymore.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think this is the sad part of this for me, because I empathize with you tremendously. I think we're so much alike. You're probably a better person than I am, but the fact that there are probably thousands of you, tens of thousands of you, and they're the ones that are least likely to hear this recording or to mobilize to vote for you, and that sort of thing. And that's really sad. I just don't know how to overcome that. But you really, to me, kind of symbolize the kind of person I wanted to use this platform to talk to. The meager 2,000 people that listen to this podcast. The good thing.
Oh, that's still a huge number, and especially for. Oh, sorry to interrupt you there, but just in terms of Eve, when you look at other games and other MMOs, especially when you look on YouTube, because I did YouTube for a while as a gamer, and the content that comes up on Eve, you could search Eve and find a handful of YouTubers who, broadcast Eve on a regular basis, and it's interesting to see that Eve is such an old game, and yet there is not so much content in the way of YouTube and streams and things like that. But I do feel like it's pushing through, like it is pushing through those social media barriers, and it is pushing up with podcasts. I'm seeing a lot more of them. I'm seeing a lot more YouTube recommendations for other Eve channels. I've even thought about making one myself, just for for, I don't know, boring market stuff. I know there's other market channels.
I would
out there,
watch
but,
your Sharon go into head GP.
Yeah. Well,
I would love that.
If I wanted to blow that away.
You should do a stream where all you do is wreck ships. Like, you just fly them into impossible situations and wait to get killed. And I bet you'll survive a few of those.
Oh, mate, I don't know if I want to risk losing all that ISK again.
That's true. Yeah, the stakes would have to be high. Yeah, well, it's good. I don't know if there is a bridge for that. The good thing about the people that listen to this podcast, a lot of them are influential among other people. And I don't know if that helps, because I don't know if people tell other people how to vote if it's not an informal process like an official ballot or something like that. But my hope is that these podcasts that people are doing, not just myself but other people as well, are heard, and votes are changed. Minds are changed, because you, to me, are like the real Eve player, that elusive Eve player that Eve Media can't talk to, can't find.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I guess in real life as well, I've always been the grey man. It's a, I don't know if it's a term you guys use over there, but it's a term that we kind of use in the army, and where you're the grey man, people know of you, but they don't know much about you, and you just kind of stay in between the ranks, and you don't get in trouble, but you also don't get put up for promotion, and that's kind of, a nice place to sit, because you can slide through and do certain things and not get noticed, and then which is a double-edged sword. Sometimes you want to get noticed for things, but at the time you don't get hassled for things either. And it's a big step for me too, I guess, out of my comfort zone to put my hand up for a CSM nomination, and to be like, hey guys, now come talk to me and come tell me what your problems are, and come suggest things to me that I could potentially, if I'm successful, relay back to head office, and suggest these ideas, and have that, not only the representing the players, but also have that conversation with the other CSM members and with CCP. And to also, I would really love to know how it actually works, because unless you're on the CSM, you don't know how it works, or unless you work in CCP, we don't know what it's like in the background. We don't know how hard it is to make these changes or implement these changes.
Yeah, that was my next question that you just answered, and that was what
Oh,
changed.
okay.
No, that's great. What changed in you to make you want to step out of your comfort zone? As the you use gray man, we use everyman. The everyman is somebody who's nobody, pretty much, because he blends in with all the other ordinary people. That's what we call like the everyman kind of thing, or somebody you could relate to that's like you, that's not super or below par.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
What changed?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
made you run for CSM though? Is it just you finally, after 4 years of, doing it, and a few years with your friends, you're like, I could do this. I think I could do this. What happened?
Yeah, it all changed last year, basically, when I met these other Aussies. We're actually talking about going to Eve Down Under this year, which is in July.
Wow.
And Eve Down Under's another Eve event. It's kind of like Eve Vegas and the Fan Fest, except for Aussies, and in a little dingy pub somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, no. So being with these guys, and not just the Aussies, but also we've got Europeans and Americans and things. People, I should say, that we talk to, and yeah, just just talking to these guys, and on a daily basis. I've been on Eve every day, just again talking to them and just having good chats, and having a lot of banter, and yeah, I just thought, wouldn't it be nice just to have a decent voice in the community. I'm also personally, I'm not working at the moment, so I figured, well, I've got free time up my sleeve, so why not? Why not have someone who could dedicate a lot of their time to it as well?
Is that going to be okay? Shouldn't you be finding a job?
Well, I mean, it's a bit personal, but I'm
you'd have
just
to go
got
into
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm on a military pension, so I kind of don't have to work at the moment.
Oh, okay, good. That's actually a good story. I thought you were going to say you were ill or something.
Oh no. Well, maybe I'm ill. I don't know.
Aren't we all?
Just don't read my psych file.
Okay, that's awesome. So, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that's all right.
Anything else you want to say? Anything you want to say? Anything I didn't cover that you?
No, not at all. I think everyone's probably said the same thing, but I mean, when it comes down to, as far as I understand the CSMs and all the members on the CSM panel, is that we are meant to represent the player community, and we are there to be, a sounding board to relay ideas, suggestions, feedback to CCP. But again, we're also not able to, or we shouldn't be able to, force CCP's hand to make changes happen. But obviously, we're there to relay, your voices to CCP, and that's all I can kind of promise. If you do vote for me, and if I do, get in the position of one of the 10 CSMs that's going to be available this year, yeah, and that's all I can really offer. But other than that, I'm in Australia, so for all those Aussie players, if they need someone in their time zone that's a bit more, relevant and relatable to all our Aussie banter and humour, then there's someone down here for you as well.
Yeah, a lot of these shows are kind of all the same, right? We say, what do you like about the game? Tell us about your expertise and all that. I don't really care about any of that. I mean, expertise is important. You need some people in there that know how things are triggered, where the bottlenecks are, and to give advice and to be consulted. But CCP talks to those people anyway. They essentially seek them out and talk to them. You know, it may be a benefit to have them on CSM. I don't know. It's not like CCP is going to say, we can't talk to you, go through your CSM member, when they know you're an expert in something. So I don't think experts necessarily should be all in CSM. What I was looking for, and I think you really provided a lot of it for me, is how much heart you have about the game, and essentially how positive you are on it, and how much you want to help it to go forward and stuff. And it just seems that anybody
absolutely.
who plays this game 4 years by themselves, like I did for a long time, watching the world around you and being a part of it and being immersed in it and playing missions and not running through the missions for money, but actually playing the missions and collecting things and watching things blow up. That tells me volumes about your relationship to the game that I think overlooked.
Yeah, no, and it's all about fun too. At the end of the day, that's the reason why I play video games, to escape reality, and I'm sure a lot of people do. And you know, there's obviously this is why we need CSMs, and there's obviously the real life factor and how, you know, there are things that need to happen in real life to affect the game. But at the same time, we're all here to play and have fun, and if we can make that enjoyable for everyone and keep the game going in an upward trend, then yeah, it's all for the better.
Terrific. All right, Victor, thanks very much for joining us.
Perfect.
We'll let me just stop this recording. We'll get this out pretty soon. I forgot where my buttons were. There we go.
Yeah, that's all right.
Push the button. You're still live, but I have stopped the recording.
Yeah, cool.
But, man, I just have to say, like, that you're my favorite person I've met in a long time.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry that's not on the recording, but I can't because, you know.
Yeah, favoritism.
Like, yeah. But
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of looked into, you know, my first corp was Australian.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because I, you know, play about this time, right? After hours, the baby went to sleep.
Yeah, it's really late for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's getting close to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But this is when I would generally, like, get on and things would quiet down in the house and I would actually have some free time. So I thought, I'll just join Aussies. And they were the coolest people in the world. Like, super nice.
It's weird. We're not too bad. It's I think there's always gonna be drama with our culture. I know there's a lot of Americans who don't get it when we say, "Oh, fuck off, dickhead," or, you know, "get fucked" and shit like that. Like, they take it seriously. Whereas for us Aussies, it's just banter. You know, it's like calling each other dickheads and stuff is just like,
it's part of
it.
It's
not offensive at all. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. No, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, we've had a few guys I've been on TeamSpeak with, and yeah, they're just like, "Oh, well, fuck you then. I'm not gonna help you." You know, and it's just like, mate, we're just stirring you up. What's going on?
That's how we talk.
Yeah, it's just how we talk, you know.
Well, it's just weird because a country where so many things can kill you, they're such nice people.
Oh yeah, I think that's part of it too. You know, like, we're just so used to everything just being all over the place. You know, yeah. I mean, oh yeah, I mean, I could go on about our internet too. Like, at the moment we've got the worst internet in the world. You know, like, just so much crap we got to put up with, and then we just go, oh well, move on to the next thing. You know.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Didn't think of that. Wow, cool.
Yeah, well, that's why I can't. I want to be able to live stream and stuff, but I can't right now because the internet's too slow. But get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, good luck with your streaming. I'll actually, I would watch your show. So if you do it, let me know. Stay in touch.
Yeah.
And I may have you on the actual Talk Against Stations show just to bring you back. Maybe after the election.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Because yeah, like I said, I've got a gaming channel which I've kind of neglected, but I joined Maker Studios and then they kind of screwed me over, so I'm just like, not going to give them any revenue. Maker Studios.
Oh, huh.
Maker, yeah, because they got bought out by Disney, and once they got bought out by Disney, they lost, well, half their staff quit. Support team and forums died. I've submitted multiple support tickets for things and received no replies in the last 6 months. I've even threatened to leave them and still not receive replies. Yeah, but no, so I've dabbled around in that and stuff, but yeah, live streaming for my gaming channel was really hard because I only get 900 kilobytes upload rate. So it's yeah, very difficult. But yeah, I'm interested in doing YouTube episodes or just playthroughs or whatever for Eve. I've got some recordings of some battles we've had, so I'm gonna edit those up.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well,
I'm mainly the guy that was in the pod, just kind of in the background, just recording.
just yeah, stick around in this Discord, and we'll talk over time and stuff.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, you're welcome to stick around.